We're back for the fourth and final hour of three-man front here on Jocks. A lot of portal talk. Auburn, big win against Arkansas over the weekend. UAB, an overtime win on the road against East Carolina. Unfortunately, Alabama, they lose at home to the Texas Longhorns. They ended a streak of 20 consecutive games inside Coleman Coliseum of defeating a team that was unranked. Texas came in unranked, and they knock off the Tide. That's unranked. Texas came in unranked, and they knock off the Tide. That was a big loss. For Alabama as they now drop to 1-2 on the season.
Lots going on in college football. No better person than the coach, Bill Clark, presented by Donahue Chevrolet.
Coach Bill Clark on Three Man Front is brought to you by Donahue Chevrolet. Learn more at DonahueChevrolet.com. And now,
and Coach Clark joins us as all of our guests do on the Higginbotham Hotline. Happy Monday, Coach. How are you? There he is. Coach, how are you?
Hey.
There he is. Coach, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you guys?
We're doing great. Let's wrap up what we saw in the semifinals of the college football playoff. First, let's start with what we saw on Friday night. Indiana facing Oregon, second time. I thought it would be a closer game. Dan Lanning and that defense. Facing Oregon, second time. I thought it would be a closer game. Dan Lanning and that defense would have something for that Hoosier offense. That was not the case. I texted Pat during the game. I could not believe what we were witnessing, just the domination, again, by that Indiana football.
Talking about it. Offense, understanding you got to well, they're playing take away, score it all. I think, man, they're jealous, and that's what you want to be playing your best football.
Is playing their best room with Mario Chris. What is the game? Gone to toe-to-toe against Penn State, played a really good game. Nobody had game. How do you?
Well, first, you got to be able to run. And so then you start controlling. And if you can't, you got to be able to run the ball, man. Defensively, we talked about them. Why the game, defensively, I'm probably going. I'm picking play with them. I think they've got talent-wise. They do the compliment
guys that Kurt coaching staff and out of the portal work, and those guys obviously your coach. You uncanny, not only what in Blooming, how that culture get everybody to buy in.
Bunch of things there. One, public knowledge. Started saying we're going chance to get these guys, for him to get to be with, other folks, but obviously with Coach Saban to kind of see what that looks like as a recruiting coordinator. If you remember back Urban Meyer when he went to Ohio State, they were not having a lot. They were having success, but they were never having success when it counted. And he really went and changed the model of recruiting specifically to the D-line. So I think that piece of it, and then the biggest thing, and I know this, he comes across as arrogant, but I think, I've won everywhere I've been type mentality we're going to win here. And sometimes that comes across as arrogant, but I think they needed that, along with getting the right players, getting all the James Madison guys, really brought guys that really in this world of everybody transferring and constant upheaval, guys that believed in what he was preaching, because they'd been with him. They had something to prove. They're solid. And now you got all these 22, 23-year-old guys out there. I think it's just the perfect storm for a team, and that's where they are right now.
In regards to this Miami team, you said one of the things that potentially could give Indiana a problem is someone that potentially can run the football. And Miami has definitely been able to do that. Fletcher has been a dynamic back, and they were able to take it to Ole Miss pretty good, especially in the trenches. Do you think in the trenches, mean to speak, that possibly Miami has got the dudes that can make this a game next Monday night?
I really do. I mean, I'm not, I think they're playing their best, and we said that early on. The difference in these games is somebody that can play complementary football, and then what they've got is a quarterback who's been in the big games. He's talented. He can make all the throws. He's an NFL quarterback, and he's playing well right now. So I think they've got all the things that's going to give them a chance. I think Indiana's playing really, really well, but I think Miami, and we said that as they were going in, they were gelling at just the right time. Should make for a great game.
Who would you, and this is a tough question to ask, but I don't even know the answer to this. I don't guess anybody except for God does, but who would you project to have the longer term of sustained success? Would it be Miami right now, or what Cignetti and Indiana have been able to do?
I would say Indiana. I think they're, especially maybe in the league they're in. This is pure guesswork, but I think just the model I'm looking at, even though, I talked to Coach Cristobal a few off seasons ago. We had a call with a bunch of coaches, and I just happened to be on there with him. And I just remember him talking about he had to start getting involved with every aspect of his program. And you think, well, who's not involved? I think, we were talking about GAs and analysts, and I'm thinking, that's what it looks like. And I think that's the part that you get from Cignetti. He gets every piece of it. From what I'm hearing, it sounds like they've got the chance to sustain because they've got people willing to give money, like Cuban. So I think they're building themselves for success. I think their school has seen what it looks like. But I think Miami's got a chance too. But I think Indiana, to me, looks like they're building for future success for sure.
Coach, you still talk to a plethora of coaches on a weekly, daily basis in regards to who is still in the trenches doing this. And over the weekend, Alabama fans got a bad taste of the transfer portal because they thought they had one of the best running backs out of the transfer portal. He committed. He enrolled in school in Tuscaloosa, and then he decided at the last minute, I'm going to go on a visit to Austin, Texas, and then he commits to the University of Texas. When you talk to these coaches, and I know that there is a volume of examples of this type stuff happening, and it's been crazy out there. If you were a head football coach like Kalen DeBoer and you had to deal with that, how in the world are you able on a daily basis try to construct that roster based on these limitations and these things that are going on when people give their word and they go against it?
It's hard. I mean, I've dealt with a bunch of guys that told me they were coming and then didn't. But, and this is why you have rules. The rule used to be, I was just talking about this a minute ago. The rules used to be that if they stepped foot in class, it was over. So, that's when you knew you had them because, somebody could get them before they got on the plane or as they were getting on the plane. You just never knew, especially when it came down to things that enticed them. We'll just leave it at that, what enticed them to come. But I said this on my show, these guys are not happy. I won't say miserable, but they are not happy with the current state of affairs. They're all going through it. I think I mentioned this on my show where every coach feels like every kid I'm meeting with off my team is lying to me because, they're entertaining every option. Now, once again, we can say this is just the world we're in. We've got to compete in it. We've got to play in it. But I do think they are, they're all pulling their hair out, so to speak.
Coach Bill Clark joining us here on Three Man Front, presented by our friends at Donahue Chevrolet and on the Higginbotham Hotline. We're talking about it, and this started coming about that I can remember, Coach, and just talking with assistant coaches that are still in the game. And portal recruiting last year, the year before, it seems like it's only been about 2 or 3 years, but these guys are getting big money to go on visits. I know that it happens at every single level, even the non-Power 4 level. How did this come about? Not asking you to name a particular staff, but why did this come about? Where now guys are getting all of this, all this money, and it varies from case to case, but they're getting money just to go on a visit and a 5-minute hello. Why?
Because that's why you have rules, and rules say that you can't do X, Y, and Z, right? And as soon as we don't have rules, the unscrupulous or whatever you want to say it, we could say if it was business, we just said, somebody just wants to win, somebody just wants to do what somebody else is not doing. But if there's not a rule, why not? So as soon as somebody did that, well, we're going to give you some money to come visit. We can ensure they're going to be there, and then we got a chance to convince them. And once it started and there was no rules to stop it, that's the world we're in now.
I was just imagining, and you can tell me if this might have played out this way or maybe it didn't, but a staff sitting around like, guys, we need more of these big guys in this limited portal period. We need more of this one-on-one time. If we can just get them on campus, we need that. Well, why can't we pay them? Well, check the rules. Well, let's try that. We got this pot of money. Let's dedicate it to paying guys for visits. Is that probably how it came about?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we used to just, we sat around, we had our own people. You had your own compliance department, and their job was to make sure you were doing the rules correctly. And now you wanted somebody that believed in giving you every opportunity within the rules, because there was some compliance people that might not have been that case. Luckily, I had somebody that, within the rules, let's do everything we could do to give you a chance to win. But they're probing and looking and trying to figure every way they can to get an edge. As we know, this is the most competitive world there is, pretty much. So they're looking to try to get an edge, and it's once somebody does it, they're going to find out. The recruit's going to tell them, somebody's going to tell them, then it goes the next and the next and the next, and that's where we are.
Yep. And I don't know if you saw the news, but Iverson Strap Hooks, wide receiver from UAB, he is just committed to the Oregon Ducks. So it affects everybody. It's crazy.
Well, that was a huge get for us. I was still there when we got Iverson. Big get for us. I knew how good he was, and great family. And I think the one good news for the UAB folks, he gave them some good years, but he is that talented, so that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. Don't look at the measurables. Just wait, and he can make plays.
No,
for sure.
He's a football player.
Yes, sir. He's the coach, Bill Clark, and Coach, you're presented by our friends at Donahue Chevrolet. You got professional and personal experience, as do I, with the great folks at Donahue, and there's no better place to go and look for a pre-owned or a new Chevrolet.
Yeah, and once again, we say it all the time, but the folks at Donahue are just great people. They got, obviously from leadership down to all the salesmen, I've always been impressed with how they take care of you.
Coach, we appreciate it. We got the Coach Bill Clark show coming up this week on Jocks, and we will see you very soon.
Okay. See you guys soon.
All right. Coach Bill Clark, presented by Donahue Chevrolet, joining us as all of our guests do on the Higginbotham Hotline. We continue here on Three Man Front, the first edition of Pat Ponders for the week on the way as we continue this transfer portal madness on Jocks.
It is 1:17. Welcome back on this Reaction Monday on a cold week. Transfer portal will officially be open till midnight Friday night. You have to submit your paperwork. There's a 48-hour window in which once you submit your paperwork that has to get your information submitted and go through the process. Some schools like to drag their feet a little bit, but as long as your name is officially in the portal, then that's cool. Like you will have weeks to try to decide where you want to go. That's fine. You just need to officially be in the transfer portal. Over 4,000 players have gone into the transfer portal. About 383 SEC players in football have gone into the portal. So we'll see how it ends up towards the end of the week. There was some news yesterday by Heather Dinich from ESPN, and we're getting ready to crown a national champion on Monday night. And she is reporting that a 16-team CFP is gaining momentum, and it might be implemented as early as 2026. On Friday, Dinich said that her sense is that there's more momentum for a 16-team field, possibly as soon as 2026, if SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey and Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti can agree to it. Now, that's nothing new there. It's what we've been waiting on to see if these two guys can officially quit kicking the can down the road and come to an agreement. Dinich added that the deadline to expand the CFP from 12 to 16 teams is at the end of the month, probably around January the 23rd, if I'm doing the math correct. CFP leaders, including all 10 FBS commissioners, Notre Dame Athletics Director Pete Bavacqua, and 11 members of the Presidential and Chancellor's Board, will meet on January 18th, the day before the national championship game in Miami. They are expected to discuss two models: a 16-team field that will include 5 conference champions and 11 at-large teams, and the other format, 24 teams. Petitti and Sankey have the bulk of control over the playoff format in 2026 and beyond. An agreement and the other commissioners and Bavacqua signed back in 2024 during the last contract negotiations with ESPN. So if the Big Ten and the SEC can't come to an agreement by the deadline, the playoff will remain at 12 teams. But according to Heather Dinich, there is growing momentum for a 16-team expanded playoff that could start as soon as this season.
Yeah, I like the idea of the 16 team, but if we don't get the 16 team, or if we're going to vote on the 16 team, but we feel like in just a couple of years we're going to go to 24, let's just go ahead and skip the 16 and go to 24.
Well, that's my thing. Why are we going to do this
is
if
getting
2
so
years
tiresome.
later we're just going to be back in the same?
To hear that Petitti and Sankey can't come to an agreement and they can't get on the same page and we keep rolling this thing out. Let's try to nip it in the bud on this one, guys.
Well, maybe if you're the SEC, maybe that's your angle, right? We're totally cool with that. You get what you want right now, which is 16, and then if you don't want 24, then you be a pain in the butt in 2 years.
I would feel like the automatic qualifier would be a really, really tough sell based on what we just saw.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because all of that information that you had at your disposal, now you got another year of analytics and metrics that you have to factor in. And oh, by the way, a college football playoff that is featuring a team from Miami that was questionable on getting in.
Well, yeah, I mean, it worked out this year. I mean, because Miami was not the ACC champion.
Right.
Duke would have been in there. And then possibly, I think Miami would have been one of the 16. But you don't want to give it to chance.
No.
Yeah.
So I'm like you. I say do away with the conference champion automatics and just take the 16 best.
And no buys.
No 16
buys,
best.
just the top 16 ranked teams.
You play. Go. So I don't know if that's – so I really have not talked to enough people to see what the SEC angle is in regards to where they would be 16 or 24 or the automatic qualifiers.
So let's say that they did make it happen, went to 16. Do you think they would – essentially, if they went that round, got rid of the buys, would they also, you think, eliminate conference championship games? Or would we get into one of those conversations where you make that the play-in games or whatever?
I think the conference, however you want to label them, just like the bowl system, conference championship games aren't going away. They'll find a way. They can label them something else or have a game that takes the place on when that conference championship game would. But inventory and the corporate dollars that are tied to it,
Well, I can just tell you this.
I don't know how you sell that on going away.
I mean,
and I realize what happened this past year.
We were there, and I've covered it since the inception of it.
It was pretty dead.
It was dead as a doorknob. And why anybody would spend your hard-earned money to go over there to a game that literally had nothing to do with the college football playoff.
Make it a play-in game.
That's right. No, I'm all for it. I mean, the conversation that we had with people that weekend when Conrad and I were in Atlanta was what you need to do is you need to have this weekend be a play-in weekend because Vanderbilt needed to play another game.
It should have been Texas and Vanderbilt.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I know we saw that earlier in the season, but winner goes to the playoff, loser goes home.
Yep. It's a quasi,
year before we could have had Alabama and Ole Miss.
It's a quasi wild card game.
Because you need there to be something on the line to make it more. There has to be some. You can't just be, oh, well, we're just there to, play for 60 minutes and then move on to the
Because
playoff.
at the end of the day, it didn't matter if Alabama won or lost because Alabama got in anyway.
And if you're an Alabama fan, you're probably thinking, man, I wish, if I went to Atlanta, man, I should have kept my money and gone to Norman.
Well, but the reason that I think we still have it going on, and it is different because you have other teams that are vying for postseason opportunities, but what we have with the SEC basketball tournament right now, and that argument has been there for years and years and years. Like, why are we doing this? Or you have a team that's going to be a 2 seed or a 1 seed. Why are they going to give it their all when they go and play that tournament in Nashville?
Because they've already made up their mind. Yeah.
Right. And it's not exactly the same, but I can see that some very similar sentiment going that way.
So we'll see. We've had opportunities for everybody to kind of basically come to an agreement, and it hasn't happened. But they will meet the day before the national championship game. And keep in mind, before it had to go through a whole committee. Not anymore. It's basically the commissioner of the Big Ten, Tony Petitti, and Greg Sankey. Those two guys. They have to come to an agreement. It doesn't have to go through all these other committees. It doesn't have to be voted on by all these other presidents or chancellors. This is two guys representing the two most powerful conferences in college football trying to come to a decision.
I want debate style.
Who would be the moderator? Paul?
Who would be a good moderator?
That'd be interesting.
I think Jim Phillips from the ACC would be a good one.
George Kliavkoff, he's probably not busy.
Do we have to get somebody who's been a commissioner, or can we just get somebody who's been in college football?
Like Jimbo or Edo?
Mac Brown.
Mac.
Will be moderating tonight.
There you go. You've been around long enough. So, my final thing on this. The deadline is still the end of the month, correct?
The 23rd.
23rd. Okay.
January 23rd.
So they've got 11 days.
That's the deadline. So they'll meet on the 18th and hopefully have
in 4 days come up with a plan?
Well, a substantial conversation. I mean, it's not like they haven't had this conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, so some interesting information just came out a few minutes ago. Ben Portnoy from Sports Business Journal, he got his hands on the College Sports Commission, which is supposed to be the new NCAA. And they have just released their latest NIL deal flow data in which, you know, they report how much money has been presented to them. Because keep in mind, you can have all these NIL deals, but it's the CSC that ultimately has to approve it one way or another. And we had someone last week, they were giving an interview and they were anonymous, but they said, get ready because there's going to be a lot of deals that's going to get denied. And a lot of people are going to be upset about this. So they're kind of putting the cart before the horse. 524 deals, according to the College Sports Commission, with a total value of $14.94 million were reviewed and not cleared. So almost $15 million worth of NIL deals, the CSC said, nope, not going to work. So 524 deals they denied. Wasn't going to happen. 10 deals went to arbitration, 8 were withdrawn, all involved a resolved administrative issue at the same school. So I'm pointing this out because just because all these guys are coming out of the portal and they're agreeing to certain things, they still have to be approved by the College Sports Commission. And if they deny it, then you're back to square one.
And you're another step closer to the shutdown of college football as we know it.
This is what happened
When all of these deals start getting canceled.
This is what happened with Hollywood Smothers. They're like, no, Alabama, y'all are paying him too much. We need him to go somewhere where they're going to pay him a more reasonable sum of money.
So when all of these high profile guys, in most cases, they come out and they say, well, wait a minute. Nobody ever explained this to me. I just saw the full dollar amount. But you mean that $2 million of what I thought that was already coming to me, that didn't get cleared, and so now I'm playing here at a discount? What are you talking about? I'm not playing next week. No, but you have to play. You're our quarterback. I'm not playing next week. My agent did not explain this to me, and none of y'all did either. I'm not playing next week.
Well, it was on a smaller scale because it wasn't Power 4, but that's pretty much exactly what UNLV's quarterback did last year.
Get ready for it, folks. It's going to happen.
Yeah, I forgot about that situation. They also pointed out that they denied 524 deals, but over 17,321 were approved. So they're pointing out that, this is a legitimate organization. $127.21 million of NIL deals were approved.
So some of these deals are borderline legitimate.
Borderline.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just did some math here on my phone. So the average NIL deal, this is crazy.
They got denied?
Out of the ones that got accepted, or the 5,146 deal, $9.7 million, the average price of that is $7,700. So not everybody's making stacks of money.
No, there's a lot. Look at the names in the portal. How many names are currently in the portal? How many are getting over $100,000?
Yeah. We will continue on. No. We'll continue on. We got plenty of text and your phone calls. This is Reaction Money on Jocks.
There it is. 134. You feel like it's the first weekend of college football with that. Little John Cicada coming. Front lands from Pat, Conrad, and Molly. We do have Pat Ponders coming up on the way. We have professional football going on tonight, postseason professional foot. Millions of users sign up for America's #1 fantasy sports app. It's Prize Picks. It's simple to play. You pick more or less on at least 2 players' stats. If you get your picks right, you can cash in. We get the Steelers and the Texans tonight. Steelers quarterback Aaron Rodgers, 0.5 passing touchdowns. So does he go more than that? Does he go less than that tonight? All he's got to throw is 1.
Yeah, we'll go more.
We're going to go more
We'll give him 1.
there. How about one C.J. Stroud? He's playing quarterback for the Texans. I'm going to go yardage. 228.5 passing yards in the cold. More or less.
I kind of want to go less.
Let's go less.
With the weather. Yeah.
All right. We'll go more with Aaron. We'll go less with CJ. If we hit on both of those projections, we're a winner. You can be a winner too. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code WJOX. $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code WJOX. $50 in lineups after the first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It is good to be right.
We were talking during the commercial break and a little bit of non-football news. It's pretty interesting. We read a couple weeks ago that Brooks Koepka was leaving the Live Golf Tour. And so there is a program in the PGA. It's called a returning membership policy, where they're opening the door for guys that left the PGA Tour for Live. If they want to come back, they can. So Brooks Koepka is going to be this first person that's going to go through this returning membership. And by him doing so, there's some things that he had to agree to. And the PGA Tour is really sticking it to him from a monetary standpoint. First off, Brooks Koepka will play the Farmers and Waste Management immediately. So he's back on the tour, not have to go through any, we're going to hold him out for 6 months or whatever. Like, he's available to play right now. He has to give a $5 million donation to a charity that will be named later. He's ineligible for the Player Equity Program for 5 years. So what that means is that he is ineligible to receive between $50 and $85 million in earnings. So he's basically forfeiting between $50 and $85 million of his earnings to be back on the tour. He's ineligible for the 2026 FedEx Cup bonus payout. So he can't get any bonuses if he's high enough to be in the FedEx Cup playoff. But he is eligible for the President's Cup and the TGL. So
this is like, is it SMU's deal with the ACC?
Pretty much.
Where they're like,
that's
like, you can have a seat at the table, but that's all you're going to get.
Yep, you're not getting any money. The returning membership policy only applies to players who've won a major or players championship since 2022. So that would be Koepka, Rahm, DeChambeau, and Smith. Those are the players that would be obviously involved.
I like it. We only want the best.
We can only
back.
aspire one day to be able to turn down or forfeit $80 million.
Yeah. But I love that from the PGA. It's all right. We're only going to let you back if you're really good, because otherwise, see ya. You made your decision. But also, I think they realize having Brooks Koepka back is good for business for the PGA. But still,
they need a heel.
Yeah,
the PGA Tour needs a heel.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of those heels went to Live.
Yep. Yeah, they did.
See, I would have been really fascinated if Tiger had taken the $800 million they offered them, if they would still make him do that. I feel like he might be the one that they're like, yeah, you can just do whatever you want.
Was his birthday party this weekend?
Think so.
Tiger?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he turned 50.
Oh, really? I did not know him and I had a birthday close together.
Mm-hmm.
That's immediately what I thought.
So apparently Bryson DeChambeau, John Rahm, and Cameron Smith, they have until February the 2nd to make a decision whether they want to be a part of this program like Brooks Koepka. I bet you DeChambeau does it.
Oh, is it a one-time offer?
Apparently so, for this particular program.
I can see DeChambeau doing it.
Maybe they're best of buddies now, him and Brooks.
I think some of those other guys be like, how much I got to forfeit? Nope.
No, and honestly, for Brooks, I mean, that's...
How long were those initial contracts?
I don't know, but supposedly, and I just mentioned this before, there was a $100 million signing bonus for Koepka, but I believe the rest of his deal was another $75 million.
Is the Live Tour, is it printing money in other countries? I know it was started by a lot of money, like insane amount of money, but I was just wondering if this thing has really caught on in other countries.
That's a good question. I'm looking right now. It looks like he signed a 4-year contract with Live
So it was a
worth
4-year
around
deal.
$130 million.
Okay.
Because it was supposed to, his contract with Live ran out at the end of this year, end of 2026.
Okay. But he did get that signing bonus. So it was very smart.
and
to
That'd
get
be the chunk I
a lot
wanted.
of it up front.
And I can understand why he wants to come back and being closer to family. But yeah, that's good. That's good for the PGA.
Man, he's giving up wearing shorts. That was one of the benefits that, believe it or not, a lot of the golfers loved, because Live, you could wear shorts. And not to mention the fact that now, of course, Live, they've extended it. It's a 4-day tournament now. The first few years, it was only a 3-day
They
tournament.
caved.
So it's even better. You work less, you make more, and you can wear shorts.
Yep.
Did they require you to wear shoes on the Live Tour?
I don't know.
I feel like there's probably certain players that they could have literally done. If they wanted to go out there in a
Well, I know it's certain
Bruins
players
jersey like Happy Gilmore, they'd probably allow it.
when they're not practicing and they're out. I've seen players that go barefooted, won't wear golf shoes. They're just going out and
It seems
hitting it around.
That would hinder your teach their own.
Yeah, there used to be field goal kickers kick without shoes.
I was just thinking more from the spikes and stuff, but put some tacks in the bottom of your feet.
You just got to make sure the guys that are playing with you don't step on your feet. But that's never been an issue for me.
No, I haven't had that problem.
If you're seeing cracks in your foundation, if your doors and windows are sticking, these aren't just minor problems. They're signs of a serious issue down the pike. So you need to call Alabama Professional Services, 205-951-9717. The pros, they really know their stuff. They'll inspect your foundation, clearly explain the problem, and give you an honest, pressure-free solution. They can fix your foundation. They can even tackle that sinking driveway with their fast and clean poly-level system. For foundation issues, wet basements, or sinking concrete, do yourself a favor. Call APS 717 or go to their website, alabamaprofessional.com.
Pat asks the questions we try to answer. Pat ponders next.
It is 1:45. Welcome back in on this Reaction Monday. Reminder, we'll be live tomorrow. Socials open up at 11. We'll be there broadcasting from 10 to 2 right here on Jock.
Well, flu season is here, so make your home healthier with Trane's Clean Effects 99.9% of airborne particles, including those that cause virus. It's 100 times more effective than standard air filters and 8 times more effective than HEPA room filters. So go and find a dealer near you at Trane.com.
So the big story in college football out of the transfer portal today has not anything to do with Alabama or Auburn. It has to do with LSU, and it has to do with Sam Leavitt, as it was reported this morning that he had committed to LSU. Well, Matt Zenitz from CBS Sports just tweeted out a few moments ago the following. Tennessee hasn't given up yet on Sam Leavitt and has still been pushing in hopes of remaining in consideration for him. So basically, Tennessee is still having the line of communication open with Sam Leavitt, and I guess there might be potentially a bidding war between Tennessee and LSU. I'm here all for it.
Yes.
I just like to imagine, Josh Heupel calling Lane, like, he might not be able to start the season, right? You sure you still want him? Okay, I mean, if you say so, but it's just the little things you could try to throw in there, like, you sure you want this guy?
So as we've learned with Hollywood Smothers, just because you so-called commit to somebody,
just don't sign a piece of paper.
do a graphic, whatever the case may be. The whole thing, as awkward as it was being reported, even by LSU people, this is not something that was reported by non-LSU people, that Leavitt's interaction with Lane was awkward. And then he goes and spends 2.5 days in Knoxville, Tennessee, watching film multiple times with the offensive coordinator, with Heupel, going to Heupel's house. The next morning, his whole family is having breakfast again. It just seemed like that was the marriage that was going to commence.
This is just me. And Sam Leavitt's taken a lot of visits, and he has had people vying for his services for a long time as an athlete. But there is no way, and I know your personality too, unless I think that there is a 99% chance that I'm going to that school, I'm not entertaining breakfast and follow-up film sessions and let's go and let's form the T on the quad. I'm not doing any of that crap.
I was about to say,
Sorry, it's not crap. I'm not doing any of that extra stuff.
And again, just my personal opinion, don't know anything about the situation. It feels like he probably would rather be at Tennessee. And then Lane Kiffin came back and said, well, what if we give you an extra $1 million or an extra $2 million?
Yeah, that's
and
what it feels
okay,
like.
Well,
because...
And now does Tennessee return and do the same back?
It had to have been a money. I'm flying to Knoxville. I just wanted to let you know this is how important you are to us and to me. I wanted to tell you face to face. Yes, it was awkward the other night, and I apologize. I apologize what went down with DeMond. But just know that you're my number one quarterback. And this is how much we love you. You know that initial offer I told you at the basketball game the other night? No, increase it by $2 million. Tell your mom I'll never call her again.
I will.
Okay.
I will say him going to Knoxville to cut him off and get his last bid in, it's pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
That's good business right there.
I'm just
What
curious.
else was he doing, though? To be fair, we're asking the question about Lane. What else is he doing besides trying to make Ole Miss people mad?
And the LSU point of view will be, well, we've got a signed piece of paper. It doesn't matter. If anything's proven in this situation, just like they were all ripping Washington for having a so-called signed piece of paper for their quarterback when LSU was flirting with it.
That was a pretty strong piece of paper, apparently.
I think DeMond Washington, his instance might have done a lot of favors to a lot of people. Just how that all played out. Like, hey, if you were thinking about doing this, let me cite you this example right here.
Well, when you lose your attorney.
Yeah.
When your attorney says that this is not the route you need to go and you don't take his advice, that's the first sign you got problems. But I'm just curious if Leavitt if he hasn't signed anything.
Oh, this is awesome.
Let's have a public bidding war.
Absolutely.
Yeah. 5 questions from Pat. We'll try to answer them. This is what we call Pat Ponders.
I want to know what you're thinking. Tell me what's on your mind.
It's time for Pat Ponders.
Brought to you by Courtesy GMC in Trussville, courtesybirmingham.com. is the website. All right, the Buffalo Bills are partnering with Collectible Exchange to auction off as much as possible from their old Highmark Stadium before it gets demolished, including the men's room urinal troughs. Everything is up for sale. So what stadium item, not a stadium seat, would you love to have from your favorite stadium? So Conrad, if you want a ping trough, you can have it.
I think I'll pass on that. I mean, mine would be easy. I'd want one of the monuments from Monument Park at Yankee Stadium.
Okay.
That's kind of an easy answer, though.
From Truist, I would want one of the retired jerseys that they have there.
Where do they have them? In their Hall of Fame?
The retired jerseys,
Up on the
signs that
stadium.
are up on
I got you.
the ribbon area right there. But it'd be great to have Hank Aaron's to put in the sports room.
Be awesome.
So
I don't want a urinal.
at Memorial, when the players walk out and do tunnel walk, right before they walk out, there's a horseshoe that they all tap for good luck. And I think that'd be really cool.
How old is the horseshoe?
I don't know, but I bet I could figure it out.
Do you think you could repurpose one of those troughs as like a shower or a bathtub?
Of course you could.
I'm just thinking like in terms of the shape of it, you just find a way to.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of a cool. Nasty
Because you don't have a
thing to
problem
have.
standing in urine.
You're gonna sit there and
gonna
luxuriate
clean it.
and soak in a bath, even that you have scoured, knowing of all of the bodily fluids that have come out into that thing over the years.
Bleach.
Come on, stop it.
It was just an idea.
No, if anything,
I just feel like that's one of those things that adds character to a house. I'm not saying I would do it, but it would be a unique.
now I can see like an
Piece to have.
outside flower bed,
Mm-hmm.
like an elevated bed, or maybe you just dig that, put that thing in the ground.
That'd be a good one.
It's like, hey, you like those flowers? You know why they grow that way? You know why they're so pretty? It's all that urine.
Why do they smell funny?
All the Bills Mafia over the years.
You growing asparagus out here?
All right, next question. Today marks 60 years since Batman with Adam West premiered on ABC television.
Zing, pow.
During its 3-season run, Batman faced, holy moly, 33 different villains and villainesses during the show. I'm just thinking about Commissioner Gordon and
I was thinking
Chief
about
O'Hara.
Some of the villainesses, they were a little racy back in the day.
They sure were.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, in the fantasy world of superheroes, who is your all-time favorite villain?
That's a good question. I mean, it's hard not to say the Joker because he's so good. But I feel like that's what a lot of people would say. I don't know. I like Thanos. Thanos was a really good villain.
Okay.
See, I'm sad because my favorite villain is Darth Vader, but that's not in the superhero realm.
I'll count.
I
No,
think,
I
I
would,
think it should count.
yeah, I
That
would
should
count
counts?
that. I would
Yeah,
count
I
that.
think that should count.
Star Wars is my favorite movie.
Okay, I would count that.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, yeah. That's the best
I
one.
mean,
Yeah.
come
He's
on.
the best villain ever. Yeah.
Luke, I am your father?
Yeah.
If that counts, then I want to go Dr. Evil. Because he did have it going on.
Do you get Mini-Me as well or just Dr. Evil?
Oh, I want Mini-Me.
Yeah.
That's part of the deal.
Obviously, yeah.
Are you talking about Damien?
Yes. Mini D. Mini D.
Mini D. That's it.
I think the funniest thing I ever saw as a kid is, you know, the part where he's like, Mini-Me's like strapped to his chest and it looks like he's peeing behind the curtain. And that's so good. So
Isn't that amazing? The show was only on for 3 years.
Yep.
And he faced 60 villains.
I used to watch it when I go to my grandparents' house. It would come on the TV in the middle of the afternoon, and yeah, some of those villains are really creepy, like just creepy on the surface.
Yeah.
Well, I know it was in, I guess, one of the older movies, but like Jack Nicholson when he was the Joker, he was just really creepy.
Jack Nicholson as the Joker was awesome.
He was good. He was creepy.
Yeah.
Darth Vader's my goat.
Not near as dark as what you got with Heath Ledger.
No, it was a little more comical,
Yeah.
but in a
Joaquin.
twisted way.
Joaquin.
Joaquin.
All right, that's today's Pat Ponders, brought to you by Courtesy GMC in Trussville.
Thank you, Pat.